I'm going to kick it off. My name's Emily O'Neill. I'm the Vice Mayor's Communications Director, and I'm here on her behalf. She's very sorry she cannot join you tonight. She is sick and currently getting a COVID test, so hoping she feels better. And I'm just here to welcome you to the second round of redistricting meetings. Redistricting happens every 10 years, so it's a really great opportunity for you to provide your input on how the districts look. Our district, District 7, is currently the largest district. It's roughly the same size as the city of Tempe, so our boundaries will be changing and your input is appreciated. And again, Vice Mayor Ansari super apologizes for not being here and is grateful that you guys are here to share your input. And with that, I will pass it to City Manager Ginger.
Thank you, Emily. So good evening, everyone. Thank you all for attending tonight. We truly appreciate your presence this evening. My name is Ginger Spencer. I'm a deputy city manager. So deputy city manager with the city of Phoenix, but thank you, Emily. Don't want to get in trouble with the boss man. But we are so glad that you are here tonight, and we do hope that the vice mayor feels better soon. So we're definitely sending her lots of positive vibes and well wishes. So I want to take the time to introduce our presenters this evening. So with me we have Denise Archibald. Denise is our city clerk and oversees our 2023 redistricting process. Next to Denise, we have our consultant, Chris Meyer. He is actually our former city attorney as well as former city clerk, and he has been involved with all of Phoenix's redistricting processes since inception. And then also we have our consultants from Arc Bridge Consulting who are responsible for the maps and helping us with this process. And we have at the end of the table, we have Priti Mather, and then next to Priti we have Sam Mather. And so they will guide us through the presentation this evening. So I want to thank all of the staff who are here with us this evening, from our city clerk office, from Phoenix TV, our communications office. And then also I want to acknowledge we do have an interpreter here tonight if anyone needs Spanish interpretation or translation, and that is Carmen Cota. So thank you, Carmen, for being with us this evening. And with that, I will hand it over to our city clerk, Denise.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So today I'll talk a little bit about the process for redistricting. If you attended the round 1 meetings, we appreciate that, and you might have heard some of this then. For this process, we're using the same process that we have used in the last 3 redistricting processes from 1990, 2000, and 2010. And to ensure a professional and impartial process, we did hire, as Ginger mentioned, Arc Bridge Consulting and Training. They're from the Washington, D.C. area with Preeti and Sam Mather. And they were selected through a procurement process that was approved by the City Council. And so we did have our initial first round of community meetings in June, and during that time frame we provided information to the public and the community about, the census data at the time, our current status of our maps, what the redistricting process was going to be, and also how to provide input. And so we did start taking input, and we still are receiving a lot of input, both through email and online. And during these community meetings. And so we appreciate your participation. We also had the opportunity for members of the public to submit maps and create their own maps, and that was through August 1st. And so we did receive several submittals. And after we received those submittals, then the consultant did look at those submittals, and now they're coming forward with 2 alternative maps, alternative map A and alternative map B. And so what we're looking for now is your input related to both of these maps, and more than just, whether you like one map versus the other map, we're looking for comments related to what do you like about each map and why, and what concerns you might have about each of the maps and why. And after this round 2 of community meetings, then the consultant will take the last feedback from the community and also from the council, and basically present for the council maps, either a map or maps, for consideration and for final approval of the council of our new boundaries. Those new boundaries will then be effective January 2024 for the November 2024 election. And so we do still have a lot of information. All of the information for redistricting is on phoenixredistricting.com. And so it's the place to go to find everything. And you can submit your comments still through there through this entire process. And we also here have some handouts outside of this room, and you can also pick those up as well. And with that, I will kick it off to Preeti.
Good evening. My name is Preeti Mathur, and I'm going to be doing a presentation for you. And a lot of information, some of the information is going to be from our round one, where we talked about the census data. So this is what we will talk about. Okay. All right, the clicker doesn't want to work. But never mind, let's look at the current districts that you have for the city of Phoenix. And these current districts were developed based on the 2010 data. And what we did was we looked at the 2010 census, and we saw that the maximum deviation was 4.74% back then, and then the ideal population was also just 180,000. Now with 2020 census, the same districts are not balanced anymore. As you can see, the maximum deviation is now 14.45%, and the city's population, as you know, is 1.6 million. And the ideal population, or the target population for each district, is 201,000. So having said that, we know that we have to redistrict, and we have to make our districts such that they are balanced and in compliance with the redistricting criteria. So here, this is one of the handouts which is out there, and the dotted line up there shows you that the ideal population is 201,000, which is each district should ideally have that. And you can see the districts which are under that dotted line, they need to have more population, and the ones which are over, they have to give up. And as you can see, District 7 is one of our largest districts, and it has about 17,000 more people than our target of 201,000. So now what we want to do, and you have already seen these slides in our round one presentation, but we just wanted to go over one more time. And of course, we have the redistricting requirements and guidelines. So the legal requirement says that the equal population rule, where the goal is that the maximum deviation should be under 5%. And once again, when I talk about maximum deviation, it is the difference between the most populated and the least populated district. So that should be under, that should be under 5%. And then for individual districts, that difference should be under 1%. And then, of course, we should comply with the Voting Rights Act, and we need to make sure that we preserve the minority voting rights. Other guidelines are that you may have heard of are contiguity, compactness, communities of interest, keeping them together, keeping the current core of the districts, preserving that. Then we want to make sure that the current incumbents are still living in their districts. And finally, we need to preserve the political subdivisions. Here for the city of Phoenix, what we do is we use the county precincts, okay? So now I want to talk about the public submission process. I know some of you use the tools that were provided, and you made your submissions. So I want to tell you that we got 36 submissions. And that was during the period that was provided to you, which was soon after our round one meeting. So that period started on June 29th, and you had time all the way till August 1st. And we are happy to say we did get 36 submissions. And also, there were 16 community members who authored multiple submissions. And what we did was we labeled them COP, City of Phoenix, submission 1 to up to 36. And they were based, the number assignment was based on when we received them, the date. And then all submissions, we evaluated them for compliance, and the compliance with the redistricting criteria that I explained in the previous slide. Now, the final selections, we made them based on the analysis of compactness, precinct splits, maximum deviation, majority-minority districts, and incumbency. So finally, we selected 2 plans that we are here to present to you. And we call them, just like Denise said, we call them Alternative A and Alternative B, and you can see them back in the library, in the back of the room. You can see those, and you have them as handouts as well. So Alternative A, when we were here meeting with you, we talked to you, we got your feedback, and what we did was we had a plan A that we were working with, and we got the feedback, and we made Alternative A. Now, Alternative B was selected from the county submissions. Do want to say, that there were 36 submissions, but there were some duplicates. Some did not follow the maximum deviation guidelines. So we got one map from the community submissions, and then we tweaked it to make sure that before we presented to you that it was completely in compliance with the redistricting criteria. So if you look at the numbers down below in the table, I just want to say that this PowerPoint is going to go on the website, so all this information will be available to you. So if you look at the table below, we have the current districts, then we have Alternative A and Alternative B, and we looked at maximum deviation that you can see. 14.45 is what we have for the current districts. Then Alternative A offers 1.38%, and Alternative B is 1.90% for maximum deviation. The next column is precinct splits, the compactness score, and then what we also looked at, how many precincts were moved. And that we compared to the current district. Okay? So these were the statistics that helped us select a plan. Now what I want to show you is Alternative A. And in Alternative A, and you might say that there is a lot of information on this slide, but I want to give you a big picture, and then I'm going to show you specifics about District 7. So essentially here what the slide is showing you, that in the black line is your current districts, and then the color is showing you what the proposed districts are. So here if I were to say, that you can see the red outline and the black outline, so you can see the differences at a glance. And here we have just moved 22 precincts, and we have some, if you look at the precinct splits, in your current districts we have 31, and now that number is down to 25. We also looked at the population, majority population by district, and in the current districts, if we look at total population as well as voting age population, we have 4 clear majority Hispanic districts and 4 majority non-Hispanic white districts. And Alternative A maintains that. So if you can see the highlight, you can see that the majority districts are highlighted in yellow. Now let's move on to alternative B. Here we have 33 precincts that have been moved. And if you look at the map, you can see some changes right around where you can see District 2, 3, 1. There are changes in all the districts. So you can see that on the map, and then you can also see it on the table. And if you look at the change column, the first numbers where it says D5 is where a current precinct is, and the second part is saying where it's being assigned now, okay? And this alternative B maintains the 4-4 majority for Hispanic, for non-Hispanic white majority districts. And now, because we are here in District 7, we'll go to the comparative analysis for District 7. And here, alternative A and alternative B both have 7 changes, okay? And we have listed those precincts which are being proposed to change. And what I'll do is you can see the overview, the map overview on the left-hand side, and the precinct names on the right side. So let's look at these in more detail. So here we have alternative A. Okay. So here we have the overview map, which is on the left-hand side. And then we have the top part that you can see on the top part, right-hand side. Those are the precincts which are being changed. So if you look at Cora, Pena, and Desert Sky, they are on this side, where we are getting them from District 7, and they are being now assigned to District 5. So you can see Cora, Pena, and Desert Sky. And then we have Culver, which is currently in D4, which is being assigned to D7. Then we have Encanto precinct, where we are going up to the freeway, and Greenwood precinct, Marble Creek. So those are in the northern part of the District 7. And in the southern part of District 7, we have 2 changes. Levine, that you can see, the Levine precinct, it's being moved from D7 to D8, and only precinct is currently split between 7 and 8, and it's now being assigned to D8. So those are the changes in alternative A, and and now I'm going to show you for alternative B. Oh, geez, I don't know why it's doing it. Okay. Okay, we have it. So alternative B, here we have the same format as we had for alternative A. We have a map on the top, which is for the northern part of District 7, and then we have a map for the southern part of District 7. So here you can see Capital School, and you can see Capital School is on the eastern side of District 7, and it's currently in District 7, but it's being assigned to District 4. Then we have Cora, which is on the left-hand side here. It's currently split, and it still remains split with a larger area. You can see it's over up there, Cora. And for some reason, my pointer is not working, but Desert Sky, then we have Greenwood. In alternative A, if you were looking at Greenwood, we were just going down till the Interstate 10, but here the whole of it is being moved to D4. Then you have Hollyhock, and if you look at the western side of the district, you can see Hollyhock, which is in D7, but it's being split between 4 and 7. Marble Creek, Moya, Tumbleweed, Westward Ho. So if you can see them, they are all over here, Marble Creek, Moya, and Westward Ho. So these are the changes. And there is no changes in the southern part of the district like we had in alternative A. So these are the changes, and I'm going to, okay, now just show them to you one more time, and we'll just show the alternative A, alternative B, the numbers, and now we are just here to get your feedback, your questions, your comments, and how we can make this better for you.
Okay, Priti, thank you for that presentation. We do have a card that has been submitted, and so I'm going to call on Tim Kenobi first to give any comments that you have.
Sure, thank you. My name is Tim Kenobi, United Phoenix Firefighters. We represent approximately 2,700 members, many of whom live in the city of Phoenix. I want to thank you all for your work. We got involved in this process to just ensure fairness and transparency, that people's voices were heard, not just firefighters and paramedics, but our neighbors, business leaders, community members had their voices heard, and I do feel like that you did the work, you did listen to comments, and it reflects that here. We did submit a map. I feel it looks a lot closer to alternative A, and I appreciate the fact that map A reduces precinct splits. It does seem more compact and less gerrymandered. So again, thank you for all of your work, and we're happy to be part of this process.
Thank you, Mr. Kenobi. All right. Thank you, Benji. We also have a card from Marcia Clark Campbell. We come to the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for all of your work. I was very interested, sorry I missed the previous meetings, but I'm interested in the fact that you said Westwood Ho in alternative B was now reassigned. And I'm living at Silvercrest, which is a senior property, and I see, and I have to agree with Tim, and a lot of people come, you know, the firefighters and paramedics are called on a regular basis, almost every day, sometimes twice a day, to that property. So I just wanted to know, and that's a question, is that the reason why Westwood Ho having been a senior community also, is that the reason that they've been put into another district?
What I would like to say is that is not the reason. Our goal is to just follow the redistricting criteria, balance them as much as we can, and we look at the numbers and we look at the demographics. But as far as looking at any of those specific things, we do not do that because it's not part of the redistricting.
So you just really, it's just based on race, racial composition. I mean, what I'm looking at is, the demographic is, of course, it's the elderly, and they are of several different races. But having seen the firefighters and the paramedics come, like I say, sometimes twice a day to our community, I mean, I shudder to think what it is at Westwood Ho, which is a whole lot more than 125, because that's what we're 125 apartments. And of course, the other comment I wanted to make is that there's so much building going up around, surrounding there, and I mean, I'm concerned, of course, with everybody moving in, that is totally, the population is going to be totally different. And if we have to wait for another 10 years for the census, I'm just suggesting that maybe we can do this a little more often than 10 years, maybe every 5 years. That's just a suggestion.
So Ms. Clark Campbell, thank you for those comments. So just to add on to what Priti said in regards to Westward Ho, so in map A, alternative A, there is no change. In alternative B, that was a map that was submitted by the community, there was a change recommended that it would go from the one district to the other. And so we don't know specifically why, right, that the individual who submitted the map was moving that specific precinct, but that is something we're taking your comments into consideration.
Because you're working with the Census Bureau, so obviously it has to do something, it has to do with race, most likely.
Well, it was submitted by a community member, not the Census Bureau. So I just wanted to make that clarification. But what I also wanted to add, though, is that we're taking this feedback. We will share it with the councilwoman so that she has that feedback as well. And then in regards to the every 5 years, now that is a requirement that is done by the Census Bureau where it requires it every 10 years. But to your point, Phoenix is experiencing a lot of growth. One of the things that some of the council members has asked is that we look at the potential of adding additional council districts, so that would further reduce the size of the number of constituents in each council district. That would require, though, a vote by our Phoenix voters. So that is something that we can look at after this process if that is the council's desire. So thank you for that feedback, and we'll share it. And I think that's how we can also look into incorporating that feedback during that process. Thank you. Okay. Those are the two cards that have been submitted. Is there anyone else that is wishing to speak this evening? Okay, well, Emily, we want to thank you for representing the Vice Mayor this evening. Again, we want to thank everyone who came out tonight to give us your feedback and to see our presentation. And then I specifically just want to thank all the staff again that were here, Devranya, Cooper, and we've got Lupe, we've got Benji, we've got Mike, and then we also had, again, Carmen, our interpreter. And then to the entire team, and again, to each of you, thank you and have a good evening.